keep an eye on this boost gauge. Oh yeah, that's quick. That's really quick. So I did somewhat of a younger me mod. I couldn't stand having the grill opening just open like it was. So I found some automotive mesh online and trimmed it to fit in the front grill location. And it actually turned out pretty decent. It sort of covers up that grill opening. So it looks a little better than what it did. Also just finished replacing, I'd say about 95% of all of the vacuum lines in the engine bay. Any that I could find that looked old and brittle, I just replaced with new silicone hose. I also replaced the clamps if they had any. Really cleans things up and kind of takes that worry of running into vacuum leaks when you're driving the car. Again, one of those, while I'm in there, modifications. I was also running into a very strange issue with my battery, or actually I should say this fusible link that's on these Japanese cars. You'd go to turn the key on and you wouldn't get anything. And then all you would do is just give this thing a little tap and it would kind of start right up. I ended up taking it apart, cleaning up the terminals, and then running some Dialect grease over everything. I also found that the bolt hole for this bolt it had some weird piece on it. So I ended up finding like a beveled bolt to make a better ground for that weird piece. I'll keep an eye out on that, see if that fixes things. So again, weird issue, but everything else has been awesome. The other major issue that I had so far is this plastic original radiator. The plastic on the end tanks looks like it's cracked a little bit, so I am getting just a little bit of a coolant weep from the top of this radiator, which it's pretty common for an older car like this. Again, it is plastic, so hot and it gets cold and eventually it will fail. So I do have a bit of an upgrade on the way for this. Radiator is in. I also replaced these two blue hoses with some black silicone hoses. This all went okay. The fitment was a little tight. To take 2 steps back, 1 step forward to get this fan shroud in here around that fan. But I was able to get it in, so I bled the coolant. I am gonna take out a little bit of the overflow because it is over the max. Yeah, so that looks cool. So about this sweet GK Tech cooling panel, and we'll see if we can get this thing installed. All right, so we got the cooling panel installed. It require a hefty amount of trimming on the sides and a couple other spots. I did also run over it with some of the wrinkle black paint. I'm not too satisfied with the finish, but you know, for doing it myself, I can't really complain too much. Kind of covers up that mid section and kind of makes this little mesh piece look blends it a little better. Radiator installed. Went ahead and got the coolant level right where it needs to be. I bled the coolant as well. Also, the fan shroud was a bit of a pain to get in here with the actual fan. So I did have to unbolt the fan from the pulley, take it out, put the radiator and fan shroud in, and then put the fan back in. It was a mess. Went ahead and swapped the gauge cluster bulbs with some LEDs. So these just get really old over time and just look like crap. And I had some laying around, so looks a little better. All right, so I was kind of messing around with this thing. There are 3 maps on here. There's an A, B, and C. I was on C, and I switched it over to A, and I believe it's running a little more boost. We'll keep an eye on this boost gauge. Oh yeah, that's quick. That's really quick. So this thing got just a hair over a bar boost on map A. So I'm guessing, I was just scrolling through here, it looked like map A was, I guess, a little more aggressive. Probably ran another 2 PSI. And then B is like your moderate and C is your real conservative map. So yeah, this thing scoots on map A. And I had a windshield brow installed. Just did a quick oil change. Just needed a little more massaging here. Got the car all registered at a license branch, took every document I had. So I got the historic collector vehicle plate, and I also went and purchased a 1998 Indiana license plate, as you can run these plates on classic cars. Super cool old school plate. What I took with me, and you do get all of these documents when you export a car as well as work with a broker. I took my original export certificate, the export certificate translation. I took my bill of sale or invoice, which was in yen, but I did write down the yen to USD conversion, and then the price for the car too, for reference, is on the Customs and Border Protection policy as well. So I also took my EPA, my DOT, and I also brought the ISF, and then of course I brought my insurance and then my license as well. We got the brakes all buttoned up. I replaced both front and rear rotors. I also went over the calipers with some gold high temp paint. So the back rotors on a 34 Skyline are just like a lot of other Skylines. You can run US, Nissan Fairlady's E32 rotors, all kinds of different cars that are compatible with these. However, on the fronts, these are R34 specific brake rotors, as they are a 310 mil brake rotor, and you can only get these in Japan. So I did have to buy these from Right Hand Drive Japan. Price wasn't too bad, and I had these in about a week. So there's the front calipers. Again, just masked these off really well, and then ran over them with some high temp gold paint. I also kind of went over the Nissan emblem. It's not pretty, but it works. So the end result was really nice.